Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Everybody learns a bit differently, so how do you figure your children out? Let's welcome Roni Jo Draper from the BYU School of Education to the table. Welcome, Roni Jo.
Wow.
Yes.
Welcome.
We've heard about you for a while.
All good things, I'm sure.
All good things.
Been dying
Yes.
to get
Oh
you
my
here.
goodness. See, I really have, haven't I?
Oh, good.
Look at the
I
anticipation.
know. Just
She's
excited.
giddy.
Take it away.
Wealth of information, and when it comes to education and children, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. She lives with a couple of doors away from me.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's just wonderful. When I'm not feeling correct in my mind, I just go and see Roni, and
She's your personal therapist.
Absolutely, yes,
That's
and it's all for
awesome.
free. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, that's not very nice, is it? But I'll pay you later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've been children are back, back in school and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And what's your perspective on children, education, and where they should be?
Well, I think one of the things that we do as parents is we imagine the lives that we want for our children rather than helping our children imagine the lives that they want for themselves.
Woo! Say
like
that again.
totally,
Yeah,
like-
that was Steve.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
My youngest is 20. Where have you been all my life?
Hey,
That was Steve.
so that we don't spend enough time helping our children imagine what do they want, where are their strengths, where do they see their futures, and then what can we do to help them get to their futures. And so we might spend too much time thinking about their weaknesses. I think about when a child brings a report card home or a report from their teacher home, how much time do we spend talking to our children about where their weaknesses are versus where their strengths are? So that we might spend a bunch of time with that child saying, how come you're not doing this homework? How come you have this grade in this whatever class? Instead of saying, oh my gosh, look at how strong you appear to be in math. Let's talk about this strength and how we can build on this and maybe look at how you might have a future here. We need to spend more time talking about our children's strengths than we spend talking about their weaknesses and talking about where they want to go and what futures they want instead of what futures we want for them.
But how do you do that when you're thinking they don't know enough? Our kids don't know
our
enough.
kids are so
I know what they need.
smart.
Yeah,
They're so smart.
How do you let go?
or when do you kind of start knowing? Like mine are really little. Like
They already know. They already know.
How young
Okay.
do you think they know?
yeah.
Can your children form words?
Absolutely.
Really? That
Then
young?
they know. Yes, because they are so smart. I was just talking to my grandson the other night on FaceTime, and he was showing me the books that he's written.
And how old is he?
Oh, wow.
And so he had written a book on bats and echolocation.
Echolocation.
I'm not making this up.
I may need to read this. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
And so he'd written this book about bats and echolocation, and is the bat going to run into the rock? Is the bat going to run into the wall? Question mark, question mark. And he had little things,
Doodles.
little doodles and the circles
Joints,
showing
right.
the radar or whatever for the bat. And I just thought that was so interesting. Meanwhile, he brought something. I asked him what he'd learned in primary, where LDS, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, something about Jesus." And I said, "Okay, can you?" And he said, and my son said, "Well, show Grandma what you made." And he brought this little thing, this little craft thing that he'd made, and it said "forgive" on it, and it had a little rocking horse, little foam craft thing, and a shark and a star. It's like this random stuff that made no sense. I don't know how they connected with forgiveness, and neither did the 4-year-old. And I said, "Well, what does that all mean?" And he said, I don't know. And then I said, okay. And he goes, well, let me show you this other book I wrote. And it's a book about Quaid, and that's his name. And I said, okay. And then he showed me a book, and it had his face. He had a hole in it. He said, this is me, peekaboo. And then he had another picture, and he goes, this is an x-ray of my face. And this is me eating a strawberry. This is an x-ray of the strawberry. And it just demonstrated to me that this child, he's smart. I mean, he is a normally developing child. And he loves to draw. If he was some other child, I've got another grandson who loves to build with Lego, and he builds all this wonderful stuff. And so, of course, we just give him as many Legos as he will take, and he builds all the kinds of things. If his teacher in primary would have given him the tools to connect things with forgiveness to actual things. I don't know how a rocking horse and a shark and a star connects with forgiveness. If she would have built that together, he would have put that together. He would have built something together because he's smart and he wants to, and he wants to understand, and he would create that for himself.
Okay, then I want to ask you this. Do you suggest introducing all these kids into different activities so they know what they like? Like, when's enough?
Yeah. But but kids are going to figure that out. This child, all he wants to do right now is make books.
Okay, so your kids need to enable him in
right.
different.
So it's just like, okay, so we're just like, he's just making books.
Okay. Give him lots of paper.
It's lots of paper. He's like endless supply of staples right now. He's just like making books. And at some point he'll be doing other things because that's what children do. They'll shift around. But he has to figure this out. And it's not our job to say this child needs to be an engineer, or this child needs to be a poet, or this child needs to be whatever. This child right now is an author, and that's what he needs to be able to do right now.
Okay.
And so right now, that's what we need to give him the stuff that he needs to do right now. John Dewey, a famous American educator, talked about the idea that we get obsessed about educating children, preparing children for their futures, but we're not ever preparing children for their todays. But our children are living right now. They're living in their real worlds right now. And so what are we doing to prepare them to live in their real world right now? And so when we look at your little tiny human, what do they want to do right now? And so you can ask them, like, what do you want to do right now? I want to make a pie. Oh, awesome. Let's totally make a pie.
Man, are you telling me we have to make slime all the time?
All the time.
Because we're constantly making slime.
Yeah, and that'll morph into other things, and you'll find all this cool stuff about it, and it'll.
Do you think we give our children time to be able to do that? Or are we too busy focused on what we think the direction they should be going in, and focus on that, than actually taking the time to find out what they really do enjoy doing?
We're not letting them discover their world. We're not letting them create their world. We're not letting them tell us what is amazing about their world or what is interesting. We're busy rushing them into whatever we're thinking. We look at somebody like, a Phelps on television or somebody, and we go, oh, my child could totally be a next Olympian, and let me get them into that. We don't know
The Voice or the dance show.
Right. And we don't know, we don't know. Our child may decide to graduate from college when they're 30 and be totally happy doing that and be totally successful doing that. And we need to celebrate and be at peace with that. And
as long as they don't live at home. Right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
My children. I can be into communal living as well.
She's got a big house.
I got a big house and a big heart. I want my baby's clothes. So, and so that we need to make space, and we need to not impose our visions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine if your mother came in right now.
And she might.
Like trying to imagine the horror of it, and impose her vision on you and said, "This is what I want you to do." Like, nah, I'm not into it. I'm into this thing.
Okay, let me ask you quickly, because I know our time's short. Let's say a teenage boy, for example, is really into gaming for hours and hours at a time every single day. At what point does the parents or guardians go in and say, let's shift that, we need to do something else? Talk to that.
Yeah, so the thing is that there are a lot of beautiful things about gaming. And we maybe, because we don't understand and because that's not our world, and we're not taking the time to understand that.
Okay.
And so that we might instead take the time to say, I don't understand this. So help me understand the beauty and the peace that you get from this and the joy, so that I can understand this, because clearly this is something that is giving you a lot of, you're willing to invest a lot of time. You're clearly motivated by this. I get really frustrated by people who tell me that young people are unmotivated. People who are spending that much time gaming are clearly motivated.
Yeah.
These are motivated individuals. They're not motivated to do your thing,
Right.
but these are motivated individuals. And so, so it would be helpful for us to understand that. And so for us to take the step as people who say that we're interested in young people, to say, I'm going to show actual interest in my young person and say, yeah, tell me about this game.
Yeah.
Like, show me how to play this. I'm not really good at video games, but I have like this really stubby thumb. So that's what I blame it on. I'm like, I got this stubby thumb. Give me a chance. And to show interest in that and try to understand and understand the strategy, then we can become appreciative of that. And then I think that builds a relationship with your
Right.
child, and then that allows you to then say, oh, the aspects of this game that you're loving, that might, these things, there might be this other thing over here that you might also love, but I can only know that because I've stepped into your world and not asked you to step out of your world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Great insight, great
We're
perspective.
gonna need you back, Ronnie Jo.
Yeah, all right. Sorry to cut you short, but that's short. That is great. Coming up next, we'll talk all things Magnolia. Don't go anywhere.